Melissa Lennox. On today's show, we're talking personal safety. But before we unpack the legalities and strategies, we begin with a story that's made headlines this week. A young college student, just trying to earn a living, finds himself in a scary situation during a late-night shift. What unfolds may challenge your understanding of self-defense in Canada. Take a look.
It was 2:25 a.m. when the Peterborough Police Service arrived on the scene of a crime. Just 3 minutes earlier, a man was caught on surveillance footage standing outside a Circle K. When he enters the store, he pulls out a baseball bat. The store clerk had his back to the suspect, who then swung the bat, hitting the clerk in the back of the head. In a frenzy, the clerk grabs a hold of the bat, and another man rushes over to assist the store clerk. As the three men fight over control of the bat, they end up outside. The suspect then stumbles away, but is followed by the clerk, who swings the bat and hits the man from behind. The suspect's name is Jonathan Troy Hendel, a fentanyl addict with multiple criminal convictions.
Okay, guys, I'm going to interject over here because when I first saw this video, it just brought out my inner beast, and I have a lot to say on this. Now, let me just start up with this because I'm really pissed. Really pissed off. This guy shouldn't be roaming around on the streets, period. I don't know how long he's been a criminal, what his background is, if he's served his sentences. But this is in fucking Ontario. And Ontario these days, or just Canada in general, have been going down the same trend as some blue states in the US with the whole soft on crime bullshit. And this dude is the one who instigated, started something, and then, well, guess what? He fucked around, he found out. And the store clerk merely defending himself, I say he's in the right. Funny how we're going to be talking about the store clerk and we're not going to be talking about this fucking asshole who just randomly attacked a person for no reason. He did the whole fuck around and find out bullshit. Now, I think what happened is pretty fair and perfectly reasonable. You randomly come into a store, you scare the bejesus out of me by attacking me behind the head with a baseball bat, so what do you think's gonna happen? The dude's not gonna know how he's gonna react, so the next step is, I'm gonna take your weapon, we're gonna go outside, and I'm gonna hit you on the head the same way you did me, and guess what? The store clerk did society a fucking favor. And of course, in a life or death situation, in this case, the rules are off. Never mind your laws, never mind the criminal code, never mind the fuzz. It only takes one asshole like this guy to screw things up and turn you into a victim for fucking nothing. I think you guys know where I stand on this.
The store clerk, Tej Kalia, an international student from India. However, the police arrested and charged Tej with aggravated assault, and in doing so...
so as far as I'm concerned, if this guy was a naturalized Canadian citizen, he probably would have been thrown in jail ASAP.
Received international backlash.
Good. I'm glad Canada is continuing to meme its own fucking existence and just proving my side clearly. I mean, my side is looking fantastic at this point. Gee, it's almost as if some of us who are pro-private property, pro-liberty, and pro-self-defense have been right. Gee, all of these trends that I've been seeing for over a fucking decade, and even here, out in the United States and close to home, is a thing? Gee, I must be a crazy motherfucking psychic, and I'm not a fucking multimillionaire. That sucks.
I felt like fear for my safety Whatever I did, that was just a self-defense to save my life first.
There was a lot of wild accusations and comments that would suggest that somehow our officers had done something wrong. I can tell you categorically, because I've seen the video, the right choice and the right decision was made.
But Tej's defense lawyer disagrees.
At a jury trial, 12 people are going to see this video, and they're going to see that what the police are telling them happened did not happen.
Well, I have the video on my
Jury nullification.
phone, so let's see what people really think.
Nope, yeah. Once he took the weapon away, hitting him in the back of the head, he's running away. So then he's no longer a threat. He has his back turned to him.
This gentleman should not be facing 14 years for defending himself. That is just all kinds of shades of wrong.
So there you have it. That's what the people on the street had to say. Now, let's
That's two people.
hear from the panel. Marissa, back to you.
Thanks, RJ. Joining me now are experts from various fields to dissect the complexities of this and self-defense in our country. And I'll start with you, Michael, and we'll begin with that story. Why were these charges laid? I mean, that this Circle K clerk is facing 14 years behind bars when the guy who brought the bat, the perpetrator, isn't facing the same charges.
The Circle K student wasn't acting in self-defense after a certain point. He should have, when the culprit left the store, he should have locked down the store. That's it.
So are
period.
these charges warranted?
Hold on a sec. He didn't just simply leave the store. He was forcibly out of the store by the clerk and some other bystander who was helping out the fucking clerk.
Yes, these charges are
Oh
warranted.
yeah, and he should have just locked the doors and called the cops. Bruv, hate to tell you this, but again, we're dealing with the unknown here. Even if that wasn't the freaking case, the dude could, lock the door, call the cops, and you don't know how far the cops are. You don't know if they're even gonna show up right the hell away. The dude could also have had another weapon, try to break in and unlock the door and still attack the fucking guy. Now, maybe with good timing, sure, he could have gotten caught. Do you really want to take that chance? I remember hearing something from the Americans when it comes to shit like this. You are your own first responder. Yeah. Interesting how that shit fucking works. We don't tell that to Canadians, though. Yeah. This is why I say fuck the Canadian Constitution. Fuck the criminal code. Just fuck all that shit. And also fuck Cuban Fabio for turning around and saying a few years ago that we don't have the right to defend ourselves. Yeah, according to you. Dude, it's you we're talking about. Like, bruv, you literally locked Canada down over a flu. I'm gonna take your word as law. Go fuck yourself.
He's not going to get the maximum you've referred to. That's just a maximum under the criminal code. But the police made the right decision to charge him. He used excessive force. He was no longer defending himself or the store. He was outright attacking the guy who had just...
The guy attacked him first. I don't give two shits like what the store clerk did. He fucked around, he found out, he got instant karma, goodbye and die, put him in fucking jail, X amount of years, and too bad for you. Store clerk, go about your life.
attempted to
But
rob
there's
him.
no time for reason in that moment. I mean, how was he supposed to know that this guy was no longer a threat once he left the store?
Which is a very good question, and that is one that has a difficult answer because, again, we're dealing with the unknown and what's going to happen. Fight, flight, or freeze. You don't know. You don't know how you're going to act in that situation. But at least having situational awareness and understanding that consciously, but in a moment where you have to defend yourself, you're going to act a little bit irrational. Yeah, I hate to tell you guys this, but I'm saying this as somebody who has firearms, who does martial arts, and I usually spar with men. Yeah, it's difficult. It's fucking difficult, yeah. Size difference. Men are much more heavier than I am. Yoo-hoo. Yeah. Oh, When I get my ass whooped by them, but hey, it's sparring. It's just simulated. It's just simulated fighting. Whatever.
Should have locked the door. Called the police.
At what
Coulda, shoulda, would've. Next.
point does it stop being self-defense?
It stops being self-defense. I always use the analogy of using over the limit of your credit card. You have a credit
Lousy comparison. A life or death situation has nothing to do with paying something off later. I'm gonna have to skip a little bit because these people get boring, and I'm very interested in the other two women on the panel here.
Don't. And you're right. It's a very difficult situation. But what was the name of the golf club in that scenario?
This is quite a while ago, but I was put in a headlock and I was punched multiple times in the face, and I didn't see it coming. There was no warning. It was very sudden. And when that happens to you, you do experience time differently. When I can remember it very clearly, obviously, but you don't feel time passing the way that somebody who's just watching the clip on TV does. Like it actually, for me, it felt very slow. And I was thinking to myself, if I could get out of this, I'd kill this guy. But you don't perceive time the same. However, when we teach our self-defense seminars with Civilian Self-Defense Academy, we stress this is one of the biggest reasons to train, because you have to know what it feels like to be in a situation. A lot of what we do is people throwing punches at your face safely, of course, or strangling you, cutting your air supply off, putting you to the ground. If you've never even felt that in a simulation before, then you don't know how to recognize in a real scenario when you're safe. And that, in my opinion, is how something like that happened. And what we always teach with our self-defense seminars is what you want to look for is the earliest available option for escape. When I think back to my own attack, because I had no training and your emotions are so high, all your stress hormones are up, your fight or flight, things are happening in your body. And if I was able to defend myself, which at the time I wasn't because I had no training, but I could see a situation where, if I did get out of that headlock and there was a weapon or a knife or something close by, I could imagine a situation where I would have grabbed that and stabbed the guy. Or
I want to fast forward a little bit more because she says something interesting.
To understand how you're actually going to react when you are being compromised or threatened. And I'm not surprised that this gentleman reacted the way he did, because he was actually, that's just pure adrenaline, and he's lost in the moment, and he's...
Hold on, let me just go a little further.
He's breaking into your house. Do you actually think that you're going to stand there and think about, oh, I better not do this, I better do that, or not?
Ask them.
Well, it's even the same thing when it comes to duty to retreat. Like, you're not really thinking. You're just like, holy shit. Like, what do you do?
Excuse me, why are you here?
And by the
not
way,
gonna
are
happen.
you carrying a gun, or in my case, many hightailed out of there? So for me, as a civilian, I would say to you that acting quickly, defending yourself quickly is everything. And having our politicians and our police defending that is paramount. And we are missing that today.
Oh, you're not only missing that, but we, as I just stated before, quoting Cuban Fabio, we don't have the right. And I've been saying this for over a decade. Jeez. As time goes on, it's just going to prove my point of how I'm in the right and how I'm becoming more adversarial. I didn't ask to be more adversarial. I'm just reacting and being proactive in my environment. I'm hating this country more and more. I would say more on this situation, but, it's very obvious where I stand. That's it. Peace the fuck out.